AJ still had the helmet on from where he had hit the home run and celebrated. He took 2 steps out of our dugout, not to show anybody up, not to be disrespectful of the game, not to disrespect Oklahoma State, to cheer on his teammate and give him high fives. This rule and this type of action by the umpire are why people get so frustrated with the NCAA. I'm disappointed for AJ Gracia that he won't play in one of the biggest games of his life.
What is up, everyone? Well, regionals continue to be absolutely wild, insane. We're going to recap a bunch of the different regionals and a bunch of the different teams that are moving on to super regionals. But there is another massive controversy. A controversial moment that occurred yesterday. This is absolutely stupid and ridiculous. I'm going to get into it when I talk about what happened with Duke and Oklahoma State, which I'm going to talk about in just a second here. But leading up to that, there is still one team left, at least one possible Cinderella story, and it's in Oxford. Murray State still alive. I talked about them yesterday, how they beat Ole Miss, how they beat Georgia Tech. They did lose to Ole Miss yesterday, forcing a win or go home game, winner take all today against Ole Miss, and that one's going to be a must watch. So the winner of that game will move on to take on Duke, who dominated Oklahoma State 12-5 Friday, took out Georgia 6-3 Saturday, and the rematch against OSU, against Oklahoma State yesterday. They were down 2-0. Looked like Oklahoma State was kind of cruising. It was the 8th inning. AJ Gracia crushed a home run. It was a big home run. He gets back to the dugout, puts on the construction hat. This is part of what Duke does, where if a player has a big moment, gets a big hit, makes a great play in the field, whatever the case, might put on this construction helmet. It's just a tribute to the blue collar culture over with Duke. So anyway, not a big deal, right? Just having fun and everything. Jake Hyde hits a single. Former Harvard star Ben Rounds works a walk, and with 2 outs, Sam Harris stepped up.
The 2-2. Swinging a hot shot. Pass Smith into right center field. It ties the game. Rounds on his way to third. He's being waved home. Duke's going to take the lead.
But the umpire gets all pissed off because AJ Gracia was still wearing that construction hat, accidentally Actually, he wasn't even wearing it. He was just holding it. You could see in the video, he was just holding the hat. He just had it in his hand. He wasn't even wearing it. And he's actually been suspended. He's in trouble. He's not going to be able to play in the first game of Super Regionals. And AJ Gracia is one of the better players. This is absolutely nuts. So that is crazy. NCAA and their softness, it's out of control. We talked about that slide into home plate the other day in the Oregon game in Utah Valley, where clearly the Utah Valley catcher was unfortunately blocking the plate, and there was really nowhere for the runner to go. He kind of slid in softly, but because there was a little bit of a collision there, they couldn't possibly rule in Oregon's favor in that case. So they ruled in Utah Valley's favor in that situation because, oh God, there was a little bit of a collision. Can't have that. Can't have anything, a little showing up. They wasn't trying to show anyone up, and the coach even explains it here. Let's check that out.
I'm incredibly disappointed in the rule and in the way the rule was interpreted and executed tonight. AJ Gracia, who's one of the best players in college baseball, hit a home run earlier in the inning to put us within 1 run. We have a celebration in our dugout where we give the construction helmet to the player that makes a big play. It's a symbol of our blue-collar culture, and it's something that we rally around, and it gets our guys excited and creates energy. AJ was wearing the helmet because he had just hit the home run. Later in the inning, Sam Harris hits a single. We score from first on a single to take the lead in the championship game of a regional to go to a super regional. Our guys are undoubtedly excited, and they should be. And they jump out of the dugout to high-five their teammates as they're running back over to the dugout. AJ still had the helmet on from where he had hit the home run and celebrated. He took 2 steps out of our dugout, not to show anybody up, not to be disrespectful of the game, not to disrespect Oklahoma State, to cheer on his teammate and give him high fives. This rule and this type of action by the umpire are why people get so frustrated with the NCAA. I'm disappointed for AJ Gracia that he won't play in one of the biggest games of his life. when we start the Super Regional. I'm disappointed for Duke baseball, and I'm disappointed for college baseball. And I want to get that off my chest. And if I get fined, I get fined. But we deserve better than that. AJ Gracia deserves better than that. Our sport deserves better than that.
So absolutely brutal, terrible call right there. And they're going to lose AJ Gracia. But Duke did take the lead, held on, and won the game. And they punched their ticket to Super Regional. I'm also going to want to talk about a bunch of the different regionals. So we're going to get into all of it right here, right now. I'm going to recap a few of them. Not every single game, not every single regional. There's actually a few I haven't seen yet that I'm hoping to watch on ESPN Plus. So I don't want to go through every game. I don't want to get spoiled before I watch a couple of these.
If you know what happened in the Met game, don't say anything. I taped it. Hello. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You have the wrong number.
Yeah, no problem. Boy, the Mets blew it tonight, huh?
Oh, what are you doing?
But yesterday, in a shocking game that I did watch, Vanderbilt, the #1 overall seed, the mighty Commodores, get knocked off by who? Wright State. In an exciting game that Wright State had relatively in control until the 9th inning. Vanderbilt had just one hit the entire game at that point, although that one hit was a big fly from Brody Johnston.
Cam's got to be on board.
Oh, now this is taped to left. Deep. Goodbye home run. Brody Johnston.
But in the 9th inning, with Vanderbilt down 5-1, the comeback effort began. They loaded the bases. They picked up a huge double to cut the lead to 1. That double would have tied the game, but it bounced over the wall. One of those situations, every baseball fan has seen it, where it's a ground rule double that would have scored an additional run had it not bounced over the wall. But that was the situation. Things were super tense. And then a fly ball to right field ended the game, and Wright State knocked off Vandy. And it's the first time in the Super Regional era that a #1 national seed gets knocked out during regionals. Unfortunately for Wright State, they ran into Ethan Eberle of Louisville, who threw 6+ scoreless innings. They end up losing that game 6-0 in the regional final. So Louisville moving on to Super Regional, and they'll face whoever wins between Southern Miss and Miami, Florida today over in the Hattiesburg Regional. Ultimately, Columbia got eliminated, and so did Alabama. And we have more winners. Moving on to Super Regionals. West Virginia, the team I predicted to take it in my regionals preview, swept the entire Clemson Regional, and it was an absolutely wild, thrilling game against Kentucky to seal the deal. Logan Save crushed a solo shot for West Virginia in the first, but then Kentucky took a very comfortable lead. I believe it was 6-1 in the top of the 4th. The Mountaineer bats absolutely explode in the bottom half with 6 runs, just base hit after base hit, maybe a walk hit by pitch here and there, but just constant singles. But then Kentucky retakes the lead, 12-7. They are completely in the driver's seat, but the bottom of the 8th inning, complete deja vu. The West Virginia bats come alive again, consistently loud contact, but base hit after base hit after base hit, a few walks sprinkled in, but 6 runs for the second time in the ball game. 10 of their 12 hits were singles, but they came at the right time. Lots of small ball, moving up runners, 2-out hitting, and ultimately the Mountaineers took a 1-run lead and won the ball game 13-12, and they're moving on to Super Regionals. And another pick from my regionals preview, UTSA, the Roadrunners, defeated Texas Saturday 9-7 in that super late early morning game that I checked out. They played again yesterday. The Longhorns fell again. 7-4. They lose on their home turf in Austin, and UTSA moves on. At the Conway Regionals, the 2016 champs, Coastal Carolina, always dangerous. Moving on, they beat East Carolina 18-7 for their second win of the tournament. Then in the rematch, beat them 1-0. That's baseball. Same 2 teams, 18-7 one day, the next day 1-0. A combined shutout. Shout out to Riley Eichhoff and Dominique Carbone. Complete domination. Obviously, the East Carolina pitcher also pitched well, Bradley Zayak. He allowed just 1 run, and it was on a sac fly, but that was all Coastal Carolina needed. They will face Auburn, who won the Auburn Regional. Auburn took out NC State 11-1. We had a great pitching performance by Andreas Alvarez and Cade Fisher, plus some timely hitting from their lineup, especially one of their big bats, Chris Rembert. In Los Angeles, UCLA builds an early 8-run lead and takes out UC Irvine to finish off the LA Regional. The Bruins advance to Super Regionals for the first time since 2019, and they'll be taking on UTSA in the Super Regionals. And I'll have a full Super Regionals preview this week with predictions. In Tallahassee, 3 bombs and a nice start from Jamie Arnold help out Florida State, who win. The Seminoles take out Mississippi State 10-3 to take the regional. Miles Bailey hit a grand slam, and for him, he has a home run in 5 consecutive games.
In 5 straight for the Seminoles. To left field. Fry tracking. Kiss it goodbye. 6 straight for the big dog. Let him eat.
Florida State moving on, and the big 3 A's are all advancing. Arkansas, Auburn, Arizona advance. Arizona's been so impressive. They outscored their opponents 31-6, took out Cal Poly 14-0. They are stacked. Watching them gives me a lot of confidence in the Arizona Wildcats going forward. Their offense, oh my goodness, Aaron Walton, Mason White, Brendan Summerhill, Tommy Splain, etc., etc. They just do nothing but hit, and I really like their pitching as well. Look out for Arizona. They will be very tough in supers. I was a little disappointed to see the WAC representatives, Utah Valley, fall, but they were tough. They had a great season. Shout out to Utah Valley. They won the WAC tournament. I was rooting for Abilene, but was really impressed with what I saw from Utah Valley. Taking out Oregon in the opener, that was awesome, unless you're an Oregon fan. But overall, amazing regionals, amazing season so far, and a few more matchups tonight. But we will have the complete recap and Super Regionals preview this week. Let me know your thoughts on this entire tournament. And I know I didn't mention every regional. Like I said, there's a few games I still haven't watched. Don't want to get spoiled on those. So we'll have a bigger recap coming up very soon. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for checking out the video. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to y'all in the next one.